Okay, so welcome back. Now we're going to be talking about the product rule and the quotient rule. Okay, a lot of students get freaked out in these sections, but I promise you, practice, 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 and I swear it will get so easy. It'll be just like taking a nap or writing your name. So let's get started. The product rule. The product rule talks about if we have two functions being multiplied together. So u times v. You are going to take u times the derivative of v in terms of x, and then add v times the derivative of u in terms of x. Again, this looks really frightening. Let's think about it this way. If you have u times v, the derivative of that is going to be u times v prime plus v times u prime. U prime meaning the derivative of, okay? Also, I want to specify that the order in which you do this does not matter. A lot of students also think that the order matters, but it really doesn't. It's multiplication and addition, which we know the order never really significantly matters, especially if everything's positive. So you could also write this as u prime times v plus v prime times u. A way I like to simplify this a bit further for my students is by writing the numbers 1 and 2. We say 1 times 2 means the derivative is going to be 1 prime times 2 plus 2 prime times 1. 1 and 2 just kind of represent two different things being multiplied together, not the actual numbers. So let's do a practice example using everything we just covered from before. Say I have 3 times x squared. So in this case, we have two things being multiplied together. Well, the rule says that if we're multiplying these two things, we take the derivative of one times the other plus the derivative of the second one plus times the other. So let's see this way. If I take the derivative of 3 over dx, well, that's a constant, and we know that the derivative is just going to be 0. And now the derivative of x squared, in terms of x, is going to be 2 times x, and then 2 to the minus 1, which is just 1. So now we can use our rule to see what this looks like. This means that f prime of x is going to be 0 times x squared plus 3 times 2x. Simplifying this further, we know this becomes 0, and our answer is 6x. Now this was a long way to do this. We already know that this could also have just used the constant multiple rule, which just says we can take out the constant number 3. Meaning we could have just done 3 times the derivative of x squared, which is just 2x. And therefore, 6x is our answer again. Okay, let's do another example here. What if I had something a little more complex? Say the function given to us was x squared times 3x squared. Now, yes, you could simplify this right away by simply using multiplication rule of exponents, right? We could have simply said that this is equal to 3x to the 4 and solved using the power rule. But for this sake, let's just pretend we're not going to do that. F prime of x is going to equal to the derivative of x squared, which is 2x, multiplied by 3x squared, plus the derivative of 3x squared is 6x times x squared. So these correspond here and this corresponds here, right? So this is the 1, this is the 2. So we take 1 prime times 2 plus 2 prime times 1. Try another practice problem. Maybe stop the video if you'd like. What if I had x plus 1 times x squared? Now, for our practice sake, let's not simplify this. So, f double prime, the derivative of x the derivative of f at x is going to be taking, remember, 1 and 2. So we're going to say 1 times 2 prime plus 2 times 1 prime. So let's do it that way. We take number 1, x plus 1, times 2 prime, meaning the derivative of x squared, which we know is 2x, plus 2, which is x squared, times the derivative of 1. Now, the derivative of x plus 1, remember the derivative of x is just going to be 1, and the derivative of 0 is just 0, so it's plus 0. And now you would simplify, and that would be your final answer. Okay, now let's talk about the quotient rule. So this is the one that even till this day many kids and university students struggle with. Not because it's complicated, it just might be a little more difficult to remember. But don't you worry, I have a trick for that as well. So if we have the derivative of something being divided by something else, meaning u over v. The derivative of this is v times du over dx minus u dv over dx over v squared, where v cannot equal to 0. This is called the quotient rule. It's very, very important, just as much as the product rule. Now again, this looks really scary, so I'll show you how I usually try to simplify this. Again, I use the 1 and 2 method. So 1 divided by 2, so one thing divided by something else, is just going to be 2 times 1 prime minus 1 times 2 prime over 2 squared. Okay? Another way we could write this as well, and this is completely informal right here, okay? This is not the actual rule, just a way to remember it. We could have said the derivative, if we have u divided by v, is going to be v times u prime minus u times v prime over v squared. So let's do a practice. So for example, if I have f at x is equal to x squared over x cubed. Again, let's not simplify it, even though we know we can simplify it. F prime of x, okay, that's going to equal 2. We take the bottom, which is number 2, right? X cubed, so here, times the derivative of x squared, which is 2x, minus x squared, top, times derivative of the bottom, which is 3x squared. Now, something I tell everybody is don't forget to add brackets. It's very important, even though it's completely redundant, as in this case, it does help you make sure that you don't make any small mistakes, okay? It helps save points on tests and scores, etc. All over v squared, which is x cubed. Again, brackets are so important. And then you would simplify it and you'd get your answer. So in our case, it's 2x to the power of 4 minus 3x to the power of 4 all over x to the power of 6. Okay? Let's try another one. Let's leave the rule on the board. So say I had x squared plus 1, a little more complicated, over x squared. So this one we actually cannot simplify. Well, f prime of x is going to equal to 2 times 1 prime minus 1 times 2 prime over 2 squared. And let's label this as informally, right, 1 over 2. So let's plug things in. So we take the bottom times the derivative of the top, which is x squared plus 1. So we have to take 2x, and then plus 1 is just 0, so just like that, minus the top, x squared plus 1, multiplied by the derivative of the bottom, which is also 2x, all over the bottom squared, which is x squared to the power of 2. Simplifying that down, you get your answer. Okay, in the next section, we're actually going to do some practice problems, so make sure you check in for that.